starting to come alive here. Look. Them start to put together some nice offensive plays.
Handoff goes to Heck, cut back up the middle, has a big hole, gets into the secondary before he's brought down by the safety, Nate Payne.
Nate Payne, Joe, 6 foot, 220-pound sophomore. Tallied a career high 7 tackles last game in his second career start at safety. He moved back from linebacker his freshman season. Does not have the ideal speed of a defensive back, but he certainly is good in stopping the run. Excellent example of that right there. He's able to stop Heck before he reaches the markers.
And Nate Payne moves in for Jermaine Moy, who switched over to offense to play wide receiver and returned kicks this year in his senior season. As it's 2nd and 3, handoff again to Heck up the middle. All kinds of space. He picks up a first down over midfield. Now California, they're caught. They don't want to put an extra guy in the box after getting burned deep on the previous possession. But at the same time, you can't allow Bloomsburg to continue to pick up 7 to 10 yards per carry.
And especially if there's a time that California can back some guys off line of scrimmage, it's when Heck's in the ball game. So that's what they're doing. But Heck is good enough of a running back to make California pay for making that decision. Now Brittingham's in. Expect a few more guys to step in. Maybe a play action right here is now that Brittingham's back in the game. California has to think that there's going to be a run. Good chance for Latour to drop back and throw one.
Well, Josh Heck ran for 686 yards on 120 carries a season ago. Remember, Jamar Brittingham had that knee injury. It's going to delay draw to Heck again. Cuts back, picks up 4. But Heck, a very viable backup. Actually, Brittingham back. As I was looking up Heck's numbers from a season ago, missed the substitution.
Nice little juke move right there to get inside of his guards. Gets him 2 or 3 extra yards on the play. Nice job by Willie Walker to step up off his defensive tackle position and get off the engagement. The offensive lineman get a hold of Brittingham for the tackle.
And Bloomsburg, through 5 minutes into this second quarter, have only thrown the ball once all game. Draw to Brittingham. He's going to pick up another first down. And this California run defense was really their bread and butter through 2 games. And now they're getting sliced up like a hot knife through butter here on the last couple of possessions.
And Joe, go back, talk about Brittingham's injury a year ago. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise as they were able to find another decent running back in Josh Heck. It didn't cost them as they went very deep into the playoffs nonetheless.
Blues are going to hurry up the offense, try to catch California. Handoff goes to Heck up off the right side, cut back, big hole on first down, picks up 8 yards again. California in a tough situation here. They got some reserve defensive linemen out there. 94 Justin Taravisky, one of them.
And something about Heck right there. He's a small, shifty running back. Uses moves and speed to create his yardage, whereas Brittingham, one of those all-around running backs, and Brandon Lombardi, a power back. You get to see a little bit of everything with the tailbacks in today's football game.
And Bloomsburg really not going much from the I formation, just running variations of it again. This time split wide receivers, handoff again. This time California will come up with the stop after a gain of about a yard from Heck Kirby Griffin. The man amongst boys out there amongst defensive ends. If you don't get to see him play week in and week out, it's amazing how athletic he is for his size, and just has incredible strength on that defensive line.
He really does. He pushes around tackles all day. The only weakness he may have is stopping the runs up the middle. He's not able to get off his blocks quick enough to drop back and get any of those dive plays, but he owns the outside, and it's hard to run a toss to his side of the field.
3rd and 4, Latour's gonna go down, big hit. Coming late by the linebacker, Brian Moore. Actually, that's 98, Brandon Gordon. Shed off a block, so that may have pushed Bloomsburg back out of field goal range. We'll see if they attempt a field goal or if they decide to kick it away and punt and try to pin California deep.
California's defense remaining on the field. Moy's gone back, however. And the punt team does come on. You wonder if you look for another fake here. They're in that range. They can afford to give the ball up in this position, or now do they not show that California may be prepared for the fake and do it again and just try to pin California back up against their own goal line.
Ream, the punter, standing at midfield. And there's going to be a flag before the play. either way, if it's against California, it will not move.
We have a dead ball. False start, number 1 on the offense, 5 yards. Repeat, 4th down.
Every little bit helps, Joe, and that gives California a little bit more room to work with. Ream can really lay into this one now, and Moy's going to have a chance to return it. May not be caught up against his own goal line. Won't have to be as careful with it because of those 5 yards.
And those 5 yards, might be a benefit here to Ream.
Yeah.
You're going to give it a little better kick. Don't have to worry about knocking one off the side of his foot, especially where the ball is spotted at. California not going to get there for the block. A little low line drive. Moy says, let it go, and that is going to get saved into the end zone. That player was in the end zone. Should go for a touchback. And there's some griping down on the field. And they're going to spot this ball at the 2-yard line. They're going to have an officials conversation. We have a good look at it on replay. And
You have a touchback. The ball did the goal line, therefore touchback, 1st down and 20.
And that is a good call there by the head referee, Jim Winterberg, and his officiating crew, Terry Moore, Anthony Solemny, John Wilson, Dan McGraw, Eric Cantel, Mike the Birding, to really get together and make sure they confer about that call. As it was clear, the second, that was an initial save by the original Bloomsburg player, but the second one touched the ball and was still touching the ball when he got into the end zone for the touchback. So heads up officiating there to put California at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, ball was touching the end zone, period. That's all that needs to be said, and enough officials out there saw it. They come together, have a conference about it, and the right call was made in the end. So now California gets the ball from the 20-yard line, and if anything, they need to pick up a 1st down or 2 on this drive, make sure their offense has not gone stagnant.
California, they're going to stay in the gun. Joe Slappy, single coverage up top, a big cushion there by the cornerback, Marcus Waddy. We'll see what happens here. Handoff to Lombardi up the middle. Nothing going. Gets back to the original line for no gain.
Looked like Stevie Draper, 57 for Bloom there, read a pass and was coming in on a blitz, but quickly saw the ball go into Lombardi's hands. He turns the corner and runs Lombardi down immediately to make a nice stop. Stevie Draper there, good recognition skills to see the handoff and the fact that Ruggiero no longer had possession of the football.
We saw California take a shot from similar position on the field last week. Joe Ruggiero hit Nate Force for a 66-yard touchdown. And, they've been kind of hitting the quick outs, quick hits over the middle. We're going to see at some point they're going to go to that deep play. Joe Slappy on the end around picks up a couple, but dragged down inbounds by the linebacker, 48, Mike Varanovage. Nice lateral pursuit to make the tackle.
It is good lateral pursuit, and that gadget play run by California looked like Slappy almost put it up like he was ready to throw one there. Not sure if that was a fake or it was an option to him. Slappy gets towards the sidelines before picking up maybe 1 or 2 yards. California, a manageable 3rd down now. And see to spread out the field a little bit here. Got to use those sidelines, but keep a couple of players over the middle as well so that any zone coverage has found some holes if that is what Bloomsburg choose to run.
California 3 of 5 on 1st downs here with 6:15 left in the first half. Ruggiero back to pass. He's going to get flushed. Dump over the middle. Finds Nate Force. One-handed catch. Brings it back to him. Picks up the 1st down. And if he catches that clean, he has some green spaces and green pastures ahead of him. Nice job just to reel that in as the ball was behind him. And for California to continue this drive and get closer to midfield, at least turn field position in their favor.
And I mentioned Force's soft hands earlier, and that's what it takes to make a one-handed catch like that. He was off balance. Ball could have easily hit the ground, but Force scoops it up and picks up the 1st down for California. But that pass thrown behind him shows once again the lack of continuity between Force and Ruggiero. They're just not on the same page today.
Play action, that goes to Force. That's his 100th catch of his career. And Force on that little screen gets up near midfield for the 1st down. And for Nate Force now 100 career receptions in his career, and he's inching very close to 1,500 yards as well. That bubble screen, a very effective play for California.
Using the sidelines once again. I wanted to see Nate Force get involved in this football game. He certainly has been. That is his 4th reception of the day. Picked up over 30 yards now. That was actually his 5th. And he's the guy that California can use as the go-to man. May not be your biggest playmaker, but when you need a first down, he's your old reliable. Got to put it in his hands.
Just about 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. And Force goes into the slot, handoff to Lombardi, has nowhere to go. And the one thing about Brandon Lombardi, he gets a lot of yardage, but one thing he does well is he usually avoids that hit in the backfield. He's only had 3 carries on the season. That now the 4th where he lost yardage.
That's a stat I did not know, Joe. And Lombardi's so good that because of his power, look, it takes 2 guys in the end to finally bring him down for only a loss of 1 or 2 yards. He got back to the line of scrimmage and then was stopped on forward progress. Lombardi keeps those legs churning at all times, and that's why it is very difficult to bring him down behind the line.
Bloomsburg's going to take a timeout here. 4:40 to go. You talk about that. Lombardi, with all the yards he's picked up, he's only lost 6 yards on the season. Everything else is a gain. We're going to take a look at the PSAC standings from the West Division through 2 weeks of the season. California leading at 2-0. Slippery Rock, a team that could very easily contend for the division this year. A very good team. They're a tough team at home. It all depends how they play on the road. IUP always tough, have not played. They took a bye week the first week. And then Clarion, Lockhaven, Shippensburg, all kind of rebuilding teams. And Edinburgh, a team that, they lost to Westchester a week ago, one of the powerhouse teams from the East, that I'd expect to be a little bit better than that current standing, what their preseason rank was. We take a look at the East. Bloomsburg, right on top, 1-0. Westchester 1-0. A Cheney team that California's going to travel to take on next Saturday, 0-1. A team that's on playoff probation for some recruiting issues. You see Kutztown, an offensive powerhouse, but defensively, they're not all that great. East Stroudsburg, a team that graduated previous Harlan Hill winner Jimmy Terwilliger and Evan Prawl, and then Millersville, a team a little bit better than what that record might indicate.
And remember, it's only been 1 game for most of these teams so far this year, Joe. A lot of them have a long way to go, and the team that's in last place right now could easily be at the top by the end of the season.
After the timeout, 4:40 left in the first half. California on top, 10-7. Swing past the Force again. He is hit and stuffed. Big hit from the defensive back, 15, Dominique Price. Loses his helmet in the process. And that bubble screen, a play that California ran religiously a couple of seasons ago when they had some playmaking receivers, some big-time playmaking receivers. And it's a play that's really, all or nothing. And that time it was a nothing bust for California. So they're going to have 3rd and 12 here right from midfield. Not a place that I say is a bad situation to take a shot downfield. You have not gone Jermaine Moy's way once today. He's matched up against the cornerback Bryant Joseph on the near side.
Somebody's going to have to be in single coverage. It's just a matter of Ruggiero reading it.
Split backs, Freddie Bacco into the game as well. He'll get some touches. He's a power back, 220. He can go up the middle. And it looks like Ruggiero's going to dump off to Bacco. And he's brought down at the 45. So it's going to be 4th and 4. See if California decides to go for it here. They're going to bring the punt team on. And nice job by Ruggiero, really just sitting back, reading, had nothing. Didn't try to force the issue. And a little dump off to Freddie Bacco, a guy that could make the move to get the first down, but played nicely by Bloomsburg. They brought 2 guys up to make the stop.
Big positive, that whole defensive series for Bloomsburg right there. Kind of the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. They didn't fall for the Nate Force flat twice on that series. The second time they were able to stop it, and also California reverting back to that flat again on 3rd down. Bloomsburg did not fall for it. The bend but don't break mentality, and they're going to get the ball back now.
Amore, lots of pressure, gets run into, and there's going to be a flag, and that's going to be a California first down, as J.C. Amore got plowed into by a couple of Bloom defenders who were very close to getting a hand on that punt. They did not, and that's going to be the 15-yard variety of roughing the kicker.
And that's a big miscue by the Husky special teams right there. California fixed the special team errors they had made.
We have a personal foul. Roughing the kicker, 15 yards, automatic first down.
And Bloomsburg not able to control their special teams. There's Amore getting run into, and now you're going to see California's offense trotting back onto the field. Special teams can have such a huge impact on any football game, Joe, but especially in college. They're the mistakes that will ultimately kill you in the end.
Well, for California, that is one of the biggest penalties of this early season, really for either team, and especially California now, with 2:56 left on the clock here in the first half. You're looking at kicking the ball away, just trying to hold on going to halftime with a 3-point lead now. You have a chance to put some points on the board going into halftime, run the clock out, come out and receive the ball to open the second half. As California goes to the I formation, fullback Sean Johnson will dump off to Jermaine Moy. He's going to have to make some guys miss. Stays on his feet and coughs it up. Ball goes out of bounds. Very fortunate for California that they're going to retain possession. And the defensive line did not bite on that little bubble swing at all.
Well, let's watch the bottom side of your screen right here. The defensive line was keen on that flat pass. They came over to the near side of the football field as soon as they saw Ruggiero turn his body and look to the right. They knew that's where it was going. California's going to have to back off of that flat now, maybe use it on a pump fake from time to time, but Bloomsburg has figured out that California is going to be using the sidelines when Ruggiero drops back in that two-step drop.
Well, California, they used that play to set up the rest of their offense. It was 34, Greg Myers, the linebacker, who got a helmet on the arm of Jermaine Moy to pop that ball loose. California fortunate to only lose 4 yards and not a possession there. Ruggiero in the gun will play action. They go to the sidelines. Nate Force turns back upfield to the 25, so picks up about 9 on a much more manageable 3rd and 5 as the clock stops. 2:43 left here in the first half. And for California, this deep into Bloomsburg territory, I think it might be in 4-down territory. They're going to bring on the blocking unit. Corey Garver going to check in to be on the end of that line.
Yeah, and certainly there's a difference between a flat pattern and an out pattern. The out patterns haven't been gone to since early in the first quarter. California may still be able to utilize them, but those linebackers just dropped back and covered the really shallow stuff. That's what California's going to have to stay away from on this play.
California has the defense spread up the middle. Well, could have dumped off to Garver over the middle, intended for Joe Slappy. Comes away with it, and a California first down right in front of the cornerback, Jesse Cooper.
That's a good delivery, Joe. Hopefully we get another look at this one. You're going to see Slappy go to the ground because Ruggiero put it in the right place for a quarterback on 3rd down when he's got coverage over the top. Bloomsburg guarding against anything deep. Slappy runs the slant. An underthrown pass is what you're looking for right there. Slappy hits the dirt, catches the ball that was about at his hips, and gets the first down for California.
And we saw that California run that play over the middle to Nate Force a couple of times where Joe Ruggiero throw it low. The problem is Nate Force, he's 6'4". It's tough for him to go down and get those balls. Joe Slappy, a guy not quite as big, only 6 foot tall. He can go down and come away with that, pick that up off the ground and give you a reception. On first down, Lombardi off the left side carries the defensive end with him for a gain of about 4. But this California offense getting back into a little bit of a rhythm here late in the second quarter. And the offense, they really haven't gone to anything fancy. It's been line them up. Here's what we're going to do. We think our skill players are better than your skill players, and we're going to try to beat you that way early on. And so far, it's really been a push.
Yeah, John, sometimes football is about luck, and California's had a little bit of luck on this drive. The punt, run into J.C. Moore, 15 yards. Moy fumbles, doesn't cost California, goes out of bounds. You get some of those breaks like that, you have to take advantage of them, and California's done a nice job of that so far in this drive.
Handoff again to Lombardi off the right side. Gets down near the 5. California keeping the ball in the middle of the field just in case they need to kick the field goal. A little side note about quarterback Joe Ruggiero. Coming into this game, he needed 99 yards to pass former Vulcan Jeff Petrucci for 4th on Cal's all-time career passing yard list. Ruggiero came into this game 53.94, Petrucci 54.92, and Ruggiero now at 96 yards on the game, needs 3 more to eclipse that number. So lots and lots of career milestones to be set here today. Barring particular outcomes now, inside a minute, 50 seconds to go here in the first half. California had 10-7, looking for the end zone. Lob into the end zone for Joe Slappy. That ball well out of bounds. So California playing not to turn it over, but go for the score as well. Either way, that'll bring Tyler Lorenz on from the dead center of the field with 42 seconds to go and trying to put California up by 6, 13-7.
Interesting play call there by California. Was playing it safe. Wanted to get over Slappy's head, but also the defender, so not to throw an interception in the end zone. Now California will have a chance to put points on the board. Ruggiero, not his best effort, but fortunately for California, not a turnover either.
Lorenz from 23. Everything is good. All depends on the kick. Kick no good, wide left. So Tyler Lorenz missed a kick early in the game last year against Bloomsburg. Misses another one here. So Bloomsburg now pinned deep. 38 seconds to go. 2 timeouts. And they've only thrown the ball once here in the first half. It was a big one. It was Dan Latour to Brahim Bilal for 81 yards, set up the 9-yard Jamar Brittingham touchdown run. And I expect you'll see Nate Payne playing 15-some yards off the line of scrimmage.
Now, that's a key point, Joe, because Nate Payne doesn't have the speed to keep up with anything deep, and it appears that Bloomsburg will be content to kneel this one out. They're not going to throw anything.
And that's the sign of a veteran coach that knows how to keep his team in the game and knows how to win games on the road. I believe this team has won 12 of their last 13 road games, or 13 of 14 road games, so it's not like they're a stranger to playing in hostile opposing environments. And they'll have to snap it one more time. Actually, no, they won't. That will do it for the first half of play, as the play clock at 15, game clock at 12. So California on top after the first half of play. Opening drive, California goes 10 plays, 82 yards, 403. Lombardi had 5 carries for 58 and a 17-yard touchdown. Tyler runs out of the 42-yard field goal in the second possession. But Bloomsburg answers with a 9-yard Jamar Brittingham run, and that's how we get to a score of 10-7. We'll be back with the second half of action right here on CU and CSTV.
For your next business or group excursion, contact the family-owned and operated tour and transit company that's been serving our region for over 67 years. Edenfield Stages is committed to providing a safe and friendly travel experience for our guests. Our comfortable coaches and courteous skilled drivers can take you to any of today's popular destinations. Call for your free travel brochure and let us schedule a coach or help with planning your next event. Call Edenfield Stages at 1-800-245-8600.
Introducing Points from National City, the best banking rewards program. It gives you points for paying bills online, using your check card, or even writing checks. Everyday things, so the points really pile up fast. Then you redeem them for lots of things you'll find rewarding. Points from National City. Sign up today. It's free.
There's a university where success is more than a paper chase for a degree. One that builds the kind of character that can help you do the right thing as well as the smart thing. Where core values of integrity, civility, and responsibility are not just taught, but integrated into your day-to-day experience. California University of Pennsylvania.
This fall, one of Western Pennsylvania's greatest traditions returns for a 20th season on CUTV. Every week, CUTV brings you the best high school football action from all your favorite local teams.
Still on his feet, and he is going to be gone for the Norwood touchdown.
Welcome back to CUTV and CSTV's coverage of Bloomsburg at California, where California holds a 10-7 halftime lead. We're going to take a look at the stats from the first half. Really an even matchup to this point for these two teams. As you can see, California on top in pretty much offensive categories, but the score is still very close.
Yeah, total yards, 190 yards to 132. Look at the rest of your stats. Go ahead, but the stats don't show how evenly balanced of a coaching battle this is. Two great strategists out there today, and Coach Denny Hale and Coach John Luckhart for California. Neither team able to outsmart the other one. This is going to go down to be a great second half. As we take a look at the drive charts for California, first drive led to a long touchdown, about 82 yards. Field goal on the following drive, one punt, and then shamefully Tyler Lorenz misses after he hits a career long at 42. Misses a short 23-yard field goal, so that career long will be overshadowed. Bloomsburg's drive chart started off atrociously with 2 punts, then put together a nice drive, fakes California out thinking they're going to run. They throw a deep pass, connect on that one, and then their next drive leads to another punt. That is how the score got to 10-7.
And that long touchdown drive for Bloomsburg, an 81-yard catch and throw, followed by a 9-yard Jamar Brittingham run. Brandon Lombardi, the other running back in this game, 12 carries, 72 yards in the first half. Also set a career milestone last week. For more information, we go to the third member of our broadcast crew.
Thanks, guys. We already talked a little about Bloomsburg's star running back, but what about Cal's? Brandon Lombardi reached a milestone last weekend in the game against Glenville State, where he rushed for his 2,000th yard for his career. He's only the third Vulcan to do that. One is Wes Case, as we talked about before, and the other one, All-American Antoine Bagwell. Back to you.
And you see there, really since 04 when Antoine Bagwell came in here, 04-05, 3,300 yards. Lombardi, 2,000 yards in that time. Some other backs had a decent chunk of yards. So, it's a lot of rushing yards in the last couple of years here at California's. Jermaine Moy fields the opening kick of the second half inside his own 20, has the seam, and if he stays on his feet, he's going to get across midfield. He does, up over to the Bloomsburg 48. So an outstanding way to start the second half after you come up empty on the last possession of the first half.
Way to start the second half off. If you're the California Vulcans, you're going to get your first drive over midfield. You're already in the lead. You have to tack on some sort of points here, maybe another field goal. You should already be up 13-7. That is not the case. If you could punch it in for 7 points and a coaching struggle and a defensive stalemate like this one, that's going to be a tough deficit for the Huskies to overcome.
California, they want to pick up 6 here on this possession. They want to make it a 2-score game. The longer this stays at a 1-score game, the longer Bloomsburg believes that they're going to be able to hang in here on the road at Hepner Bailey Field at Adamson Stadium. California, they go straight to the gun, 3 wide. Lombardi in the backfield. Force goes in motion, sits down really in that tight end position to block. Lombardi met and brought down on his own side of the line of scrimmage, loses 2. He's 2nd and 12.
Nice stop there by Greg Myers for Bloomsburg. Ever since, I'd say, midway through the second quarter, Bloomsburg has been all over these shotgun draw plays. Lombardi getting the delayed draw from Agiro, and the linebacking core for the Bloomsburg Huskies has read these plays tremendously. Greg Myers in on the tackle on that one. He and 45, Rob Biernet, we talked about him at the beginning of the game, have been really anchoring down this defensive front 7.
California's 2nd and 12. Ruggiero play action, getting flush from the backside, dumps it over the middle to Lombardi. He's going to pick up positive yardage to the Bloomsburg 45. Looks like they may even spot it down to the 44. It's going to bring a 3rd down 5. Much more manageable yardage for the Vulcans.
And that's what it's about. You gotta have to bring up some 3rd and short situations in a game when it comes down to the scheme and not raw skill. You can't be faced with 3rd and longs too often because they are hard to convert against defensively sound teams like these Bloomsburg Huskies. California now going to use their standard set. They're going to put out an extra wide receiver in Perry Ivory. Let's see how the 4 wide go for the Vulcans. First time we've seen that in this ball game, perhaps.
They're going to throw again. On the out to Nate Force, sidesteps the sideline, gets around 1 tackle, spins out of a couple others before being brought down hard from behind by the linebacker. With that previous completion on 2nd down, Joe Ruggiero has now moved into 2nd place on the 4th place on the Cal career passing list with 5,497 yards before that 1st down completion again to Nate Force.
2 examples of never giving up on that play, Joe. First is Nate Force with the stiff arm right there, breaks a couple of attackers. The second example is coming in at the end of your screen right here, number 94, Earl McNeil. That's the defensive tackle getting off the line of scrimmage and coming back to save Nate Force from getting any more yardage.
California 1st and 10 at the Bloomsburg 23. And Nate Force getting very close to that 1,500-yard career mark. Needs 10 more yards for that. They're going to stay in the shotgun, hand off to Lombardi, sweep left side. Picks up about 3, just running into that pile.
Little nothing going there for California, keeping it honest. Have to run that play. Now, once every set of downs, let Bloomsburg know you will not back off the run. Lombardi is a gamer. He's a workhorse. He can carry these and absorb that contact and go into those piles, move the sticks maybe 1 or 2 yards. And that's the kind of thing that will wear away the defense come the end of the game. California's bread and butter. You're never going to see him not run Brandon Lombardi up the middle on any given series.
3 receivers, Ivory, Moy. Force handoff goes back up, cut middle. Lombardi still on his feet. Forward progress should get him down to the 16, 17-yard line area. Bring up a 3rd and short, 3rd and 3 for California. And that'll bring in the 2nd back, Freddie Bacco. A guy very capable of running the ball, very capable of catching it out of the backfield for California. And the longer he comes in the game, the more he stays in this game and does not touch the ball, the bigger the surprise factor comes later on in the game.
Yeah. See what California chooses to go with right here. I wouldn't be surprised with a run, but at the same time, those two backs, that gives Ruggiero two viable flat options. The flats of the wideouts have not been working, but the backs have had some space. What will they run on this 3rd and short?
Bloomsburg showing blitz. They bring the house. Lombardi up the middle, breaks the tackle, picks up the first down inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Blitz came off the left side of the Vulcan offensive line, and Brandon Lombardi ran right into and right past it to pick up the California first down.
Yeah, Lombardi gets the delayed handoff right there. I think Bloom thought it was a pass. They over-pursued just a little bit. We saw number 3, Marcus Waddy, the corner, came in on a blitz. He was headed for Ruggiero, but by the time he honed in on him, the ball was in Lombardi's hands, and he was making his way up the field.
California 1st and goal from right on the 10-yard line. Coach Lockhart and offensive coordinator Mike Keller want nothing more than to punch this into the end zone to go up 2 scores early in the second half. Swing pass to Corey Garber, wide open, walks right into the end zone for the California touchdown. And that is the first pass that has gone to a Vulcan tight end in 3 games this season.
Type of thing that they don't use that often, Joe. Their set usually entails a back and 3 wideouts. Maybe Garber's in there to block, or Bacco's in as the second back. Corey Garber getting the touchdown right there. Every now and then those guys that are role players are able to sneak out and people forget about him. Garber is wide open. He trots in for his first score of the season.
And you know who's a happy guy right now? The man standing beside us that was on the receiving end of those plays last year, California 2007 graduate Damon Baker, the former tight end, now a coach here at California, as Tyler Lorenz converts on the extra point. California goes up 10, 17-7, 10:58 left to go in the 3rd quarter.
For everything high school football, CUTV's got you covered. All the scores, all the highlights, analysis from our CUTV staff and the Valley Independent's Brian Herman.
And New York is coming through in the Class AA Interstate Conference, and the Keystone Conference is as bad as usual.
High school football is back. It's High School Football Roundup this fall on CUTV.
Introducing Points from National City, the best banking rewards program. It gives you points for paying bills online, using your check card, or even writing checks. Everyday things, so the points really pile up fast. Then you redeem them for lots of things you'll find rewarding. Points from National City. Sign up today. It's free.
Welcome back to Adamson Stadium, where California has gone on top by a 10-yard Corey Garver touchdown reception. Tyler Wren kicks. Brahim Bilal on the return, has some room up the right side, gets up over the 40, and is brought down from behind by the not the wide receiver, the backup running back, number 5, Brandon Anderson. So for California, after the big touchdown to go on top, give up a little bit of field position, but the defense has held strong on 3 out of 4 possessions. It was really one play that led to the touchdown out of Jamar Brittingham.
You know what? Bloomsburg hits the drawing board once more. Let's see what Coach Hale and the rest of his staff decide to do to match the California defense. They got to come back with a score on this one, and at the very least, get that ball across midfield, pick up a first down, and pin California deep. Make a stop on the next defensive series.
Now Bloomsburg in the I formation. It's Jamar Brittingham dotting the I. Latour's going to throw for the second time now, and he gets crushed after the play, nearly intercepted by California. And Dan Latour took a pop from a man that was very quiet in the first half. PSAC West reigning Defensive Player of the Week, Darren Burns.
Darren Burns, Joe, let's talk about him for a minute. We haven't got a chance to yet this game. 6'3", 215-pound junior. Watch him come around right here. Stays in the play.
Actually, that wasn't Burns, that was Moore. But either way, all 3 of them hit about as hard as anybody.
Yeah, and Burns, he's been all over the field in this game, and he's been one of the keys to stopping the runs for Bloomsburg. We'll talk a little bit more about his abilities on the field in an upcoming set of plays here.
Turner center, they go split wide receivers to the near side. And it's going to be a late handoff to Brittingham. Has a lot of room. One stiff arm fumble from behind. California, I do believe, is going to come away with that, and they do. The defensive lineman falls there. Actually, it's number 7, Gary Butler, And it was a big hit from behind that forced the ball out of Brittingham's arm. I was just about to say, great stiff arm by Brittingham. You're going to see it here. He stiff arms a Cal defender to get to that outside, gets off of Brian Moore, and then Gary Butler on the backside strips it. Deontay Henry wanted to pick it up and run with it. Good thing Gary Butler had the awareness to squeak in and pick up that ball.
There's no way you can fault Jamar Brittingham for that, and he never saw it coming. The blockers from behind enabled Gary Butler to escape. He blows up Brittingham. Brittingham blindsided, loses possession of the football. California's on it, and they really have all the momentum in their favor at this point.
And looking at that replay, Gary Butler was going for the ball the entire time. He had no intention of just wrapping up Jamar Brittingham. He wanted to strip that ball and give his offense outstanding field position at the Bloomsburg 43, 1st and 10 California. Handoff goes to Lombardi up the middle, picks up about 5. Now, we've been talking about nicknames for these players. The former tight end here, Damon Baker, says to my buddy here, Josh, at halftime, goes, you got to come up with some nicknames for these guys. And I think we can coin one here for Brandon Lombardi. We were told Baby Bull's no good anymore by this coaching staff. So we're going to go with Wrecking Ball because this guy just goes into the hole, throws his body into somebody. You saw him plow over a defender earlier, right on that Blaze logo right at midfield. So we're going to go with the Wrecking Ball. 2nd and 6 California. 10 minutes left here in the third quarter. California after the turnover. A little lob to the outside, and Jermaine Moy cut it off when Joe Ruggiero wanted to go downfield, but no harm done. That ball was tossed a couple yards out of bounds.
Back to Lombardi, Joe. He surpassed the 2,000-yard career rushing yardage mark last week with his 17 carries, 127 yards. He is a very unique running back in that he is the definition of a downhill runner. Not shifty whatsoever, doesn't use anything fancy, jukes and spin moves. About as powerful as they come, he runs straight ahead at all times, puts his shoulder down, and uses those strong legs of his to get himself extra yardage. It's very rare that you're going to see Brandon Lombardi make anything happen with anything more than sheer power.
And he does cut backfield. Don't think that he doesn't cut backfield. As quick out to Perry Ivory. He's going to cut back upfield, makes one man miss, picks up the first down inside the 30. And go back to that from Lombardi. He will reverse field. He does not make the quick side-to-side cuts, however. His cuts are kind of more slow, gradual, almost angular cuts. He changes directions. You know, if his line's going to go to the right and there's nothing there, he will slowly turn that play back to the left to give himself a lane. He has an outstanding field vision, and outstanding, you know, really, you can't call him anything but football instincts.
Yeah.
You know, he can anticipate a play like nobody else I've seen through California, and now my 5th year here as a grad student. And, you know, he has the power, he has the speed, and he still has another year left after this, which is a huge benefit for California. Ruggiero looking to throw on first down to Nate Force, goes right through his hands. Fortunately, it didn't end up in the hands of Jesse Cooper, the cornerback there on the coverage.
There it is again. Not going to hurt California. It was only first down, but a miscue between Force and Ruggiero off page with each other once more. Force turns around and the ball is there. Force just didn't see it coming early enough. A good delivery by Ruggiero. Force not ready for that very catchable pass from his quarterback, Joe Ruggiero.
And we haven't seen Joe Ruggiero do it tonight where he kind of stays in there and throws it off of his back foot like he did last week. And that was a situation where he had a pass picked off, very similar play. That time he stepped up and delivered a bullet, really got his weight through that ball and unloaded. So it was either Force or nobody. So he can get flushed from the pocket here. If he can pull it down, he can run. Instead, Bloomsburg absolutely eats up the play and comes up with the sack of Joe Ruggiero.
Nothing Joe Ruggiero could do right there. Nobody was open, so credit the coverage for the Huskies, but also the pass rush. They stayed aggressive. They flushed Ruggiero out of the pocket. First of all, he gets some backside pressure, and then you watch Earl McNeil coming in again. Boy, someone lit a fire under him in this half. He is all over the field, and that says a lot when you're talking about a defensive tackle at 6'2", 303 pounds. He covers a lot of ground for that size, and in that play, he was able to run down Joe Ruggiero and force California into a 3rd and long.
California 3rd and 15 at the Bloomsburg 34. Need to get to the 19 for a first down. Maybe close to 4-down territory, depending on what Coach Lockhart wants to do, how much faith he has in this offense. First is 3rd down. Ruggiero going to pass, goes deep over the middle, intended for Jermaine Moy, and picks up the big reception over the middle. His first of the game inside the 15 for the California first down.
Jermaine Moy, one of those players with big playability. He's not going to touch you on every snap. He's in there more or less just to have the defense ready for situations like that. He's been quiet all game. This time he finds an opening, and he's in there for a big 20-yard gain for the Vulcans. Like we said, a contributor in big play situations. That's where California needed to move the sticks and keep their hopes alive for a touchdown. Moy's the guy on the receiving end of that one, and California is knocking on the door of a 3-score lead now.
Ron Ruggiero stepped up to deliver that one again. He took a shot, but he completed the pass. And Jermaine Moy, you know, you got to look at a guy that was a playmaker, a stud on defense, first team all PSAC West last year, moves the offense, be very selfless. They dump it off to Corey Garver again. They catch Bloomsburg napping. Garver gets inside the 5 as the coaches were like, ooh, almost got to it. And Bloomsburg now on defense. Now they really need to step up and pick up a big stop here with California down in a 2nd and goal situation.
Bloomsburg's reeling, Joe. I mean, that's surprising. It hits you heavy when you turn the ball over quickly, like they did on the last offensive series. California gets the ball right back. The defense barely has a chance to catch their breaths. And now, if they ever needed a big goal line stand, it's right here.
California winds up in the power I. Bought a motion early. Lombardi off right tackle. Gets down low near the 2. It was not a goal line situation. But after that carry, they're going to be very close to a first down. And then a 1st and goal. California, all depending on the spot. But Bloomsburg, nice job to step up and stuff that run off the right side as the linebackers pursue late. 22, Jeremy Leitner, the D-back, steps up and halts Lombardi's progress as they're very close to a first down. We're going to get a measurement here.
And a good job by Leitner right there, as well as Darrell Hayes for Bloomsburg. They recognize the run going to the right side of the field, and they step up in the goal line. Not a lot of room to work with, but they're able to get to Lombardi in time and make sure he doesn't get too far. However, it was enough for a first down. Now it will be a 1st and goal. Bloomsburg, they're going to have to come up with 3 straight stops if they want to keep California out of the end zone.
And I think a key here is the defensive tackle, 62, Corey Geip, a guy, a leading tackler on this team a week ago, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the conference, 6'2", 284 senior. And notice California, they really haven't run at him much. If you're looking at that defensive line, he's the left interior tackle. California, Lombardi goes off the right side and bulls his way into the end zone for the California touchdown. And that a big possession and a big score for California. It makes it 23-4, extra point pending. But when you look at a 17-point lead, that is now 3 possessions for a Bloomsburg offense that has really only had 1 big play on the game in a scoring drive that lasted only 2 plays.
And in the facet of this game that may hurt the most is the fact that Bloomsburg is going to have to somewhat, I'm not saying completely, but somewhat think other than the run right now, and that's a shame when you have 2 playmakers like Brittingham and Heck. The ball's now going to be in Latour's hands a lot as that one's nearly blocked. Latour's going to have to get it done through the air. He's shown the ability to throw a nice touch pass in there, but he's going to have to make more than a couple of them to lead his team back into this game.
The Lions' extra point puts California on top, 24-7. We'll be back right after the commercial break.
For your next business or group excursion, contact the family-owned and operated tour and transit company that's been serving our region for over 67 years. Edenfield Stages is committed to providing a safe and friendly travel experience for our guests. Our comfortable coaches and courteous skilled drivers can take you to any of today's popular destinations. Call for your free travel brochure and let us schedule a coach or help with planning your next event. Call Edenfield Stages at 1-800-245-8600.
As the new semester dawns, it dawns on you you'll need textbooks. Well, yeah, unfortunately, you are not alone. But this is college. There are no lines in college. College is for thinking. You realize eFollett, the world's largest provider of new and used college textbooks, is standing by, just waiting to take your order and deliver it to your door. People, get out of line. eFollett.com. New and used college textbooks.
Welcome back to Hepner Bailey Field at Adamson Stadium, where California has just gone up 24-7 after the Brandon Lombardi 2-yard touchdown run, which was set up by the Jamar Brittingham fumble. Forced fumble by Gary Butler. Bilal's going to return up the left side, cut back, runs right into a host of Vulcan special teamers. The first to make contact, 52, Guy Hurt. Puts a hurting on Brittingham there as he gets up over the 30.
Good burst by Bilal right there. You see he's trying to make something happen. I give him credit because he protects the ball at the end of this play right here. Hurt comes in, he tries to make the strip. California's going for the throat right now, and the Huskies know that. One of the keys to this game is those sticky fingers. Bilal had him right there. He held onto the football, and if there's ever a time the Huskies can't afford to give the Vulcans any more chances of capitalizing on a turnover, it's now with them down by 17 points.
And seeing Bilal touch the ball today, I can understand why he is the premier playmaker on this team. Bloomsburg, you got to find a way to get the ball into his hands. You got to run a reverse. You got to run an end around. You got to get him the ball. As Brittingham goes off right tackle, has a big hole at the right side before the safety, Juan Butler, actually it's cornerback Terrence Johnson, rides him out of bounds. But Bilal, a guy that's too valuable to only have one touch on an offensive possession.
Watch right here. Brittingham gets behind Jay Collins, does what you're taught in terms of running back. He stays behind his fullback for as long as he feasibly can, carries him to the sideline, stays behind his blocker, and lets him pave the way for him. Brittingham picks up a solid 7 right there. And just as I had said, Bloomsburg's going to have to think about abandoning the run. It does not look like Brittingham will be done with his work in this one, at least not yet.
And we're going to reset the clock since Brittingham did go out of bounds. Make sure that clock is stopped. They're rolling on the official's cue, so play clock underway. Game clock is going to roll. We're going to say he was forced out backwards, so that will keep the clock rolling. 2nd down 3 for the Huskies offense. I formation. They're going to go up the right side again to Brittingham. Big hole through the secondary, and Nate Payne has to be there to bring him down. And those are the plays you don't want to allow. As California, they've built a 17-point lead. They're starting to lose a little bit of focus. And really starting to slow down a little bit. They need to keep that intensity up. They got to dig deep here and find a second gear.
It was one of our keys to the game, Joe, full throttle. California has to keep the foot on the pedal the entire game. They cannot get complacent when they have these big leads late in games. They need to continue this point spread. That's how they win a football game and get themselves recognized in the AFCA poll, coming up with big victories, and Bloomsburg's marching right back into this one.
Bloomsburg 1st and 10 from the California 39. Dump pass, batted down by California, nearly picked off. And Latour, that's only his 3rd pass attempt. And we got 5:57 left here in the 3rd quarter. I'm not quite sure who that was that got up and got it. I think it was 62, the nose tackle, Sam Fakaris. The guy that scored a touchdown on a block punt a week ago against Glenville State. But for California, this is a position where, if you can force them into a 3rd and long, you're going to force Bloomsburg to do something out of the ordinary that you haven't seen yet today. So it's big either way. You come up with the stop, you're looking pretty with field position. If you don't, your defense stays on the field. And this California defense, very fresh still here. They haven't been on the field for more than a minute or two in the second half. Handoff at the left side to Brittingham. He's going to throw it. The southpaw has Bilal wide open for the Bloomsburg touchdown. And California gets beat by the trick play. And that's how you get the hands into the receiver. Your playmaking receiver, Bilal, is let your running back toss one downfield.
It's a thing of beauty, Joe. There's certain things that need to come together to set stuff up like that. And it was the fact that Brittingham's had 2 big run plays in a row out of that same exact twin wide receiver set. This time they throw him a toss. California's sure he's running it. That's where you throw in the gadget play. Brittingham delivers a catchable ball long and far enough for Bilal. He comes down with it. Bloomsburg Huskies right back in the football game.
It was the safety, Nate Payne, that let Bilal sneak in way, way behind with about 5 yards of separation. Now, Koenig on, extra point attempt is deflected. I do believe that is going to go wide left. So California still holds on to a 2-touchdown lead. It's going to take 11 to tie it up. California on top, 24-13.
Loggerheads, the area's best in casual dining and entertainment. Loggerheads features cold drinks of every variety and a complete lineup of salads, sandwiches, gourmet pizzas, and nightly dinner specials. Loggerheads also offers daily food and drink specials, coffee, and dessert items. Or try our Sunday breakfast buffet available until 2 p.m. At night, you and your friends can enjoy local entertainment or various bar games. Loggerheads is located in Cole Center, 5 blocks from the California Business District.
Welcome back to Adamson Stadium, where the Huskies have cut into the California lead 24-13 as we stand. 5:49 to go in the third quarter. Still plenty of football left to be played as Jermaine Moy stands at his own 10 to return the Josh Koenig kick.
And Joe, Bloomsburg's got themselves back in the game. That should give their defense the momentum they need to carry it over and force a stop on California. Can Moy make some space once again?
Moy takes about his own 7, has a big hole up the middle, and is hit and has a lick laid on him up over the 35 to the 38, but still outstanding field position for California to start this third drive of the second half. They've started at midfield at the Bloomsburg 40 and now right inside their own 40. And the offense has really kind of started to mesh. That offensive line really playing well together now in this third game of the season.
Yeah, when you lose 4 or 5 of your starters from one year to the next, it's a lot to ask for all those guys to gel through the course of just one off season and maybe a game or two deep. But this offensive line is really coming together. It helps that they have an anchor in Tim McCutcheon who returns to hold everything together. But the Cal U O-line has not been a problem for them. And when many people thought going into the season that it would be the biggest problem area.
High formation with Sean Johnson, the fullback in. Lombardi tries to go behind him. Nothing going. Up that left side, loses a yard. And for California, these interior runs are getting a couple, losing a yard, getting a couple here. At some point, they're going to go to the outside. They're going to get a play in where Lombardi can bounce it to the outside, and Bloomsburg's going to suck everybody up to the interior, and it's going to be a big chunk of yardage for Brandon Lombardi.
And Joe, we can stand up here and look at the big picture, but it's about the little battles that are fought through the course of the game. And as of now, Corey Gipe and Earl McNeil, those two big run stuffers that we were alluding to last possession, are getting the better of that offensive line. Though they're not making mistakes right now, they're watching two veterans at defensive tackle get the better of them.
Trujero in the gun. Jermaine Moy's going to go in motion. Run the end around the Moy this time. He has a block outside. There's going to be either a hold or a block in the back on California. The near line judge tossed that flag immediately. Unfortunately for California, their first penalty here of the second half. They had 5 for 45 in the first half. Bloom 3 for 30. For the most part, it's been a very clean game, both sides of the ball. And they're going to pick the flag up.
Watch Moy come around the end right there. There he is again in one of those situations, a big play guy. I think, Joe, you said the phrase all or nothing play earlier on. This is another example of that. This either goes huge, which would be another prime example of how they use Jermaine Moy, or it just does not work. And that was the case right there. Moy has a great burst of speed. And one of the things I like best about him is there's nothing fancy with him either. He knows that the best way to pick up yardage is to go full speed straight ahead. And where he can make a move, he doesn't do it to the excess. He only does it when he needs to.
California now in a 3rd and 9 situation. The play calling has been a little conservative on third down. So what they do here, swing out the Bacco and underthrown by Ruggiero. Bacco had some green in front. I don't know if he had enough to pick up the first down. But after the Bloomsburg answer, California goes 3 and out. And momentum slowly beginning to shift in this game. J.C. Moore is going to come on for the punt. Nearly had his last attempt blocked before being plowed into, which allowed California to continue a drive late in the first half that resulted in no points on the Lorenz missed field goal.
And if California's going to go to the sideline and thank anybody, it's going to be Jermaine Moy, because if it weren't for his return, Bloomsburg would be getting very good starting field position.
Moore has the ability to really boom one. See if he lays one here. Gets a good snap. Oh, he bobbles the snap. Gets it away. He's going to go low end over end. Takes a bounce right. Oh, official takes a bump. But it comes down right near the 30-yard line. They're going to spot him at the 28. So all in all, not that bad, considering a more bobbled one there. And that, the exact same play we saw California have against Bloomsburg last year at Bloomsburg. Moore bobbled a good snap, and then the next thing you know, it was 6 in the end zone for Bloomsburg and really turned the tides in that game.
And if there was something that Bloomsburg gained on the last drive other than progress on the scoreboard, it was the ability to run the football game, as the clock isn't that big of a worry, only down by 11 points.
So Tor under center, they have not varied from this I formation at all in this game. That is the bread and butter set for this offense. They go up the right side to Heck, a little bit of a hole, picks up 2, maybe 3 before being brought down. And for Bloomsburg, they've only thrown the ball 4 times in this game. Dan Latour's 1 of 3 for 81 yards. Jamar Brittingham's 1 of 1 for that 38 yards and a touchdown. And it's a big play pass offense for Bloomsburg. And California, at this point, you can almost sit back and give them the underneath route. They've been reluctant to throw it. They've run the ball as a team 25 times for 79 yards, so they're only averaging 3 yards a carry, which will not hurt you at all. As they go right back up the middle to Heck, turns his back and picks up some yardage. Nice job to continue the play and keep it going, getting into the secondary, forcing Nate Payne to step up and make the stop.
Joe, play a little good cop, bad cop. We've already mentioned the California offensive line, how things have come together very well for them. It was about trench warfare early on for this one, and the Huskies, we weren't sure if they'd be sound up front, but these 5 new starters on the Bloomsburg offensive line have done an overall solid job of run blocking, especially in this second half. Early in the first, it was a bit shaky at times. The linebackers were penetrating the holes, but in this third quarter, they've opened up some nice lanes for Heck and Brittingham.
It's 3rd and 3 from the 35. They go off tackle to Heck. It's going to be very close to a first down. From here, it looks like he got it. And the spot's going to give it to him with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. One of the surprising things is this game getting eerily similar to a year ago. California really dominating on offense. 51 plays for 283 yards to this point. Bloomsburg 31 for 205. The time of possession, California 24-39 as opposed to 15-59 for Bloomsburg prior to the start of this drive. So for California, dominating really in all facets of the game. They haven't made the turnover yet. Still hold on by 11, but it's starting to get to that point where Bloom started to take over the game a season ago. Vittore's going to pass, unloads to the sideline. Bilal there wide open for the 8-yard pickup on first down.
Good footwork by Bilal. Full arm extension, keeps both toes on the ground, drags them. You only need one in college, but he's able to keep them both in anyhow. Bilal reaches up and snags this one out of the air, and Latour makes a good delivery high so the defender cannot knock it away. Although it was Nate Payne who was a little bit beaten on that one anyway, he may not have been able to tip it, but a good delivery by Latour, and that's good practice for situations for Bilal's in tighter coverage.
Latour goes high into the outside where it's either Bilal or no one. Brings up 2nd down 2, ball nearing midfield, hand off the right side to Heck. Darren Burns in the backfield, grabs onto the jersey in hopes that someone's going to pick him up. And Zunick and Moore are there, along with the cornerback Terrence Johnson. And Josh, after that last change of possessions, we heard the coaches were beside us open. They said, tell Kirby to get low, referring to the defensive end Kirby Griffin on that outside. Griffin, the 6'2", 275 junior defensive end, who's very powerful, can get low to the ground and really drive opposing offensive tackles and tight ends back. And that's exactly what happened there. He got low and made that play happen.
Yeah, he's a pass rushing defensive end. He's still working on his run stopping aspect of his game, but it's coming together, and if he does stay low and is able to cut off those outside lanes, he's going to be an all-around great defensive end. 3rd
down 5, Latour in the gun. He's going to throw. Pressure coming from California, has to pull it down, and he's going to be sacked. Ball's on the ground. California comes away with it. It's number 58. Ryan Moore with the recovery. I believe it was Nate Payne that swatted that out of the hand. Gary Butler actually comes up with his second fumble recovery of the second half. And Gary Butler, a guy, a couple of years ago, California came into homecoming against a ranked opponent, Edinburgh. Gary Butler had a huge game, a couple of sacks, a couple of forced fumbles and recoveries in that game. California knocks off a top 25 AFCA opponent for the first time in school history that year. And that really one of the turning points for this Vulcan program. From then on, they started to develop the mentality, and they started to believe in themselves that they could play with the best of the teams in the conference, in the region. And today's game, really mentally they've hung in there. The defense has bent a little bit, but they've responded a couple of times. Now the second turnover of the half, second fumble recovery for Gary Butler. California set up in good position inside the 30 now.
Look at Nate Forrest, nobody's on him.
Handoff goes to Lombardi, cut back. Nothing going back to the line of scrimmage. As we got 1:30 left here in the third quarter. As I'm still used to basketball, haven't quite made that transition through yet, although I've had a whole summer. And you take a look at what California done. Lombardi now 21 carries, 90 yards. The yards per carry not there. He had a couple of big runs on that first possession and ripped one off for 28, and then the 17-yard touchdown. The majority of his yards, but really grinding it out and just running clock for California. A 6-minute advantage in time of possession right now. Depending on what they tack on with this drive here, it's 2nd and 10 from the 27. force slapping to the near side. Moy up top, has single coverage, no safety help. See if they can get it to Jermaine Moy. They dump that screen to force, get around one man. He's gonna have some open space, gets down inside, steps out of bounds at the 23. So picks up 5 or so. This will be third down, California.
Good play right there. That's the first time California has resorted back to that flat since the first half. Remember, Bloomsburg got all over it and cut it off entirely in the second quarter. First time California's looked that way here in the third. It works out there. Don't expect it to be there all game, though, because Bloomsburg knows that's something they have to guard against to keep the Vulcans from moving the chains.
Joe Ruggiero now 20 for 28, 178 yards and a touchdown in this game. Not a lot of yards, but a lot of completions, keeping the clock in. The chains moving. Ruggiero near side. Ivory caught for the first down at the 16-yard line. So California picking up just enough there. A very dangerous pass. And there is a flag. And it's going to come back. California called for the hold.
Watch Ruggiero step into that one. Ivory gets up in front of the corner. Jesse Cooper to make sure he gets that one and reels it in. Ivory picks up the first down. We'll have to see if this penalty is going to affect the outcome of that play at all.
Holding on 10 yards from the previous third down.
So California gets backed up 10 yards after the hold, after picking up the first down on third and about 6. So it's going to be 3rd and 16. Ball spotted at the 33. California needs to get to the 17-yard line for a first down. We bring Bacco in, check out tight end Corey Garver. This is a situation where Lombardi and Bacco have been continually staying in the block and then releasing. Don't be surprised if one of those releases. This will more than likely be the final play of the third quarter. 20 seconds to go, 8 on the play clock now. Ruggiero using his time wisely in a handoff draw. Lombardi up the middle, picks up some yardage, gets down to the 25. So now within Tyler Lorenz's field goal range, as that's going to expire the clock here at the end of the third quarter. Maybe also setting up fourth down, as we do have an injury on the field. That is a Bloomsburg player down. Can't quite make out a number from here. That'll bring the trainers out. So at the end of the third quarter, California picks up a pair of touchdowns. Bloomsburg won with a blocked extra point. California on top 24-13 with 15 minutes of game play to go. As we're going to go down to sideline reporter Stephanie Smith with a little information about Darren Burns.
Hey guys, there's no doubt that California's defense is very dominant in this game, only allowing Bloomsburg with 13 points. One of those reasons that junior linebacker Darren Burns was named PSAC West Defensive Player of the Week last week. Against East Stroudsburg, he had 7 solo tackles and 4 sacks. And last game against Glenville State, he had a 57-yard interception for a touchdown, along with 2 tackles and 3 assists. Not too shabby. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Steph. And Darren Burns had a reigning PSAC Player of the Week on the defensive side of the ball. Josh, you have a couple other points you'd like to make about him.
Darren Burns, as you evaluate the way he plays a football game, you heard some stats of what he's done so far this year. He's a good burst into the backfield. He's a great pass rushing linebacker. He's decent in lateral pursuit. His only weakness is dropping off into pass coverage. Sometimes he has trouble reading whether or not you're going to see a run or a pass. However, when he does get into pass coverage, he has the speed to keep up with tight ends and even slower slot receivers. And remember, he does have an interception return for a touchdown this season. Darren Burns, an all-around linebacker who is very early in his college career, is only a junior, but I do think that next year you may start hearing some legitimate talk of him making it to the next level.
Yeah, and he has the size, he has the speed, he has the athleticism to play at the next level. And Darren Burns actually didn't even start his senior year of high school at McKeesport High School. Comes into California, red shirts a year. And then from then on, it's kind of been history. He has just been absolutely phenomenal in the linebacking core for California. Second-year starter, got a lot of playing time as a redshirt freshman there. However, California, they're going to line up for the field goal here, 4th and 9 from the 26. It's going to be about a 41-yard attempt for Lorenz. He's connected from 42 today, missed from 26. Actually, move this one back. We're going to be right at 43.
Which would again break his career record that he's already broken in this game, with the first being 42. If he's able to hit here, it's 2 career-long kicks in one day. But remember, he missed the short one earlier.
Now we have some confusion on the sidelines. Get an explanation from the referee to head coach John Luckhart. We're going to be underway here at the start of the fourth quarter. California looking to make it back to a full 2-touchdown lead. 14 points. They're up 11 right now, 24-13. Lorenz on from 43. His one miss was wide left. This one from the right hash mark. He connected from a yard closer in the first quarter. Nick Zarnish, the long snapper. Everything looks good. The kick is away. All depends on accuracy. And that no good, wide left again. So Lorenz misses his second of the game. 1 of 3 on the day now. He's 3 of 7 on the season. So for Tyler Lorenz, the woes kind of continue. Well, they don't kind of continue. They do continue early in this season.
Joe, let's talk about kicking for a minute. Kickers so often go underappreciated. Everybody watches the NFL, and the most watched sporting event in the world, and you watch these guys come out and make 40, 45-yarders look easy. Then you get down to Division I, and the guys are pretty good, but it just goes to show how hard of a skill it really is to acquire, and you got to work for. Lorenz, he just can't connect on those long ones. It's not as easy as it looks. Those guys like Mike Vanderjagt and David Akers in the NFL would have you think.
Latour to throw on first down, wrapped up and sacked. Gary Butler and Brian Moore, Josh Zunick there again. And Butler making his bid for Defensive Player of the Week. I think the ball popped out at the end. Blues were able to fall on it. You go back to Lorenz, and it's unfortunate for a kicker. You have one bad game or a couple of bad games in a row, you become the most scrutinized player on the team. As opposed to a wide receiver that drops a pass here or there, or a quarterback that throws an interception here or there. The kicker, you're scrutinized, but for Lorenz, his teammates are picking him up on the sideline. They're patting him on the head on the rear end, saying, you got the next one, you got the next one. Don't worry about it, our defense will pick you up. Handoff goes to Brittingham off the left side, gets a couple back. He goes into the pile. And now you've got to think for California with a defensive stop here on third down. This clock is going to become an issue for Bloomsburg. California through 3 quarters, 26 minutes, 22 seconds in time of possession. Does California, another reason when we talk about Darren Burns being so effective, does California defense and defense coordinator Mike Conway and head coach John Lockhart have implemented a dime package this season in which Darren Burns moves to the outside and becomes a rushing end basically out of the slot position. So he's picked up a lot of sacks. That's where he's lined up right now along with Deontay Henry.
And he's showing blitz.
And Burns showing blitz. He's going to come backside, and here comes the blitz from the backside. Latour rolls out, has to get rid of this ball, and he is hit, and that should be, well, it's not going to be intentional grounding. He was out of the pocket. Pass will be incomplete. Referee Jim Wittenberg there, all over that call. And it looks like there might have been a little bit of confusion on the offense. No. Latour wanted to throw back across the field and had absolutely nowhere to go with it. That's a big defensive stop for California, as now their defense was only on the field for 3 plays. They weren't on the field much the entire third quarter. They are going to have the fresh legs the last 13 minutes of this game, with the offense out there, a chance to take this ball in very respectable field position, looking to take this near midfield. Sustained 3-4 minute drive here with any points. It's going to make it tough for Bloom to come back. Moy back to receive this punt, high, deep kick all the way down to the 33. Now Moy really only has one blocker inside and cuts back through a little seam up over the 43. Picks up about 10 on the return, which there's nothing wrong with that, considering he had 3 Bloom defenders in his face. There's a flag on the play. You gotta expect it's gonna be against the return team. Back California up.
Yeah, Joe, at the end of that last series, I think I mentioned Latour was limping off the field, seemed to be holding, his outer thigh. It is a hold against the return team. If Latour is not able to return for one reason or another, I don't really know what the depth is like behind him, but
We have holding during the return, number 25 of the return team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
There's the hold. If Latour is going to have to come out of this ball game, you have to wonder who's going to be throwing it for the Huskies. And he's only shown the ability to throw for 2 or 3 times in this game that he's connected. We don't know what the air game is like for the Huskies, and that's what it's going to come down to now when they get the ball back.
Well, if it does turn out that Latour's out of the game, the only man that even threw a pass last season other than Brittingham was Matt Friedman, who is no longer with the Huskies. He was 5 of 8 for 59 yards, a touchdown, and a pick in 4 games of really just cleanup time for the Huskies. So it's a newcomer to this rush, someone that doesn't know the offense nearly as well as Latour California. They're going to go in I formation. There's going to be a lot of running, and there goes Lombardi, the outside cut back up the middle to make a couple extra yards on that run. Picks up about 4, and that'll put Lombardi over the century mark for this game. 23 carries, 101 yards, and a pair of touchdowns.
Yeah, Dan Tillotson coming in to make the stop for the Huskies on that play. He a role player who hasn't seen a lot of action in this game. He comes in as a substitution for the linebackers when they need some extra speed in there. He's the one that was in to finish this off. And Tillotson, the 6', 200-pound junior, stops Lombardi there, but after a gain of 5 yards. And the Vulcans are marching an injured man off the field. It's Brian Melker. And that could put us a small hole in this this California offensive line that needs to hold together as they try to run this clock out.
It was 71 Brian Melker coming out of the game for California. Apparently holding that leg. Number 70, Dan Jordan. The freshman line is 6'3", 285 from Farmont City, Pennsylvania, Red Bank Valley. Will check into that left guard position, actually right guard position, and see if California goes that way just to get him into this game early. And there you go, right off that left side again, Lombardi nowhere to go as that line collapsed there. 5 white Husky jerseys in the backfield and absolutely no offensive lineman for California.
Joe, I don't care what team you're talking about right now, offensive lines operate as one. If a piece of the brick wall is removed, the entire wall crumbles, and right there, it's a good example. Jordan's first play in there, he is a freshman, hasn't gotten a lot of snaps. With the first team, it would be my best guess. That time they run right at him, and Lombardi is pushed back for a pretty big loss on forward progress. We'll see if Jordan can start to find his niche on this offensive line and sort of fit in for the injured Melker.
And Joe Ruggiero, a very veteran senior move here. He's allowing the play clock to roll to 2 seconds. He's eating up as much time as possible. Snaps that away to Lombardi up over the middle. They're just going to run and kick here, but gets it away. With using as much clock as possible. Big 4th and about 5 for California, and getting a little conservative in their own territory. I don't mind being conservative here. No matter what team you are with a lead in the 4th quarter, is a turnover at your own 30, your own 40-yard line. There's a distinct possibility it's going to go 6 the other way. If not, one play, and all of a sudden, it's a ball game again as J.C. Moore comes back to punt.
Yeah, Joe, and complacency can be a killer, and mentally, if you're the Huskies, you got to love that defensive stop you made right there, and the fact that California went in and run it. You remember last year you came back, and a lot of these players think that it could happen again. Moore
gets away a good one, averaging 34 per kick. Brittingham fields that on the run, and very close to a situation where maybe should have called for a fair catch. Going to take it at his own 35-yard line. It's a pretty decent field position for Bloomsburg to start this drive here with 10:40 left in the 4th quarter. However, trailing by 11. They need, it's 2 possessions. It's a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal. So, the way California's been holding on to the ball, very possible, at this point in the ballgame, California already up to about 29 minutes of time of possession. Very possible. You may only have 2-3 possessions left in this ballgame. Handoff's going to go to Heck up the left side, trying to get to the outside, cuts back inside. And Moore there, as well as big guy hurt. Joe, as I see it, there's still enough time in this ball game that a run to Heck there is a legitimate call. You have 10 minutes. Maybe it does not work on this series. If you're not the scorer, you're going to have to abandon the run on the next one. But especially if it's your primary play call as an off-tackle play or a dive play to one of your top 2 backs, you have to stay with it until you absolutely must abandon it due to time concerns. I'm going to stay in the I formation, and inside 10 minutes now. It's going to be a quick draw up the middle. Handoff goes to the up back. I'm not even sure who that is right now. I believe it's 42, Chris Yeager. Actually, it's 12, Stephen Adams. So trying to catch California napping, looking for Heck in the backfield. We go to the up man, nothing going. It's going to be 3rd down 4. Latour only 2 of 5 in the game. California's been able to get a lot of pressure on it. They have 4 sacks to this point. Long snap count, and they hand it off to Heck. Only gets maybe a yard. And at this point in the ballgame, Josh, I'm going to go ahead and maybe question that play call with the ball out near midfield. You're in a position where if you do turn it over, all right, it's not going to kill you, but at the same time, you need to get something going on offense. At this point, your offense has run 40 plays and only picked up 197 yards. Rushing-wise, 34 carries for 70 yards, only averaging 2 yards per carry.
Phrase it any way you want, Joe. If California was too conservative with a run while they're up by 11 points, yeah, Bloomsburg much too conservative with a run on 3rd down when they're down by 11 points.
Ream on the punt. And he gets away, pretty good kick there. Moy able to field it on the run. If he goes upfield, he'll have something, but nice job of special teams coverage there. As California will take over this possession in the 4th quarter at their own 23-yard line. And head coach John Luckhart, in his 5th season here at California, putting up some impressive numbers. Go down to Steph Smith on the sidelines with more on him.
Thanks, guys. Coach Luckhart is moving his way up the career wins list. Coach needs to win this game to pass Coach Phil Hepner for 4th on the all-time win list for California. This is his 6th season coaching here, and he's 34-21, and 3rd among the 15 coaches in win percentage with 61.8%. Guys, back to you.
And Coach Luckhart, came in here actually in the 6th season. My math isn't very good at times, but he came in the year before I started here at California as an undergrad, and I got to see the transformation of this program as Lombardi has a big hole up the left side, cut back up the middle, and the biggest carry for Lombardi really since probably early in the 2nd quarter, picks up 8-9 yards there. But to go back to Coach Luckhart, came in here with a team that hadn't been a winning program, hadn't been all that successful, right around 500, game 2 under 500 year in and year out there for a while, but takes over and had the vision. He came in from Washington Jefferson College over in Washington, PA, where an outstanding coach at a Division III school takes over, and he has the vision to build a program over time, the same way Coach Danny Hale did at Bloomsburg when he came from Westchester 15 years ago. These are men with visions that can foresee in the future. Lombardi hitting the backfield, strips 1 tackle, and picks up a 1st down for California. And that is the strength and power of Lombardi there to move the chains and keep the clock rolling, as this 4th quarter is now half over. 7:30 to go in this game. California on top 11.
26 carries, 93 yards. Lombardi doing the same thing he does every game, pounding the football up the middle. It gets late in the game. He's still fresh. The defense is worn down from taking contact from him all game. Rather than the linebackers punishing him, it's Lombardi that does the punishing. And a couple plays ago, you saw him make the nice juke move, kind of going against what Joe and I say about him not being that shifty of a player. And right there, it was just the sheer power that we've been alluding to all game.
California run again. Lombardi to the outside has another big hole. Takes a lot of contact. Helmet goes flying. And still picks up 4 or 5 yards. He's laughing about it.
Jermaine Booker got caught out of position there. He had to recognize that the blast play was going to the left. He gets into the backfield but gets spun around. By that time he's out of the play, and instead of making a stop in the backfield, the only thing he can do is come in and finish that tackle. So Booker, maybe a result of him being tired out from being out there all game, one of the bigger guys on that defensive line. And with 6.5 to play now, Lombardi has gotten the better of this defense in this game. It's what he does game in and game out.
With that I formation, this is a power set. 2 tight ends, not a single wide receiver. Lombardi goes off the right side. If he can break a tackle, he has a lot of open space. Gets around 1 man outside the cornerback, Jesse Cooper, and down into Bloomsburg territory. And that a big play from California on offense to pick up a big chunk of yardage on the ground with absolutely no risk. There you see 75. Matt Schuer, in his first year starting here, picks up a big seal block. Corey Garver on the outside. And I'll tell you what, Corey Garver, a guy that came in last year as a freshman to start to replace the graduated Matt Gerger. And it was really funny, over the years that Coach Lockhart came in here, Matt Gerger came in right with him. That tight end position became known as the Matt Gerger position because all he did was block and block and block and block. He had 3 catches in 4 years.
He was a 6 offensive lineman.
He was an extra offensive lineman. Corey Garver takes over, seamless transition. Here's Freddie Backo, his first carry of the game, trying to get to the outside. And we see a flag late with 3 defenders on top of Backo. I think it might be a face mask. I didn't really see the way the flag flew. It did not look like it was coming in behind the play. But Garver, an outstanding blocking tight end, who has a touchdown reception in this game, and I'm 90% sure that's his first of his career. And it was a face mask against Bloomsburg.
We have an inadvertent face mask against the defense number 1. 5 yards from the end of the run, still first down.
And only of the 5-yard variety, but either way, 5 yards at this point in time on a play that stays in bounds is going to keep the clock rolling now. When this ball is snapped, it'll be inside of 6 minutes on the clock with California at the 42-yard line with a first down and 3 as they bring Slappy and Force in. Force hasn't touched the ball in quite some time. 9 catches for 79 yards today, though. And we're going to take next stoppage. We're going to take a chance to look at these keys to victory one more time. Lombardi back off the left side, cut back up the middle, picks up the first down, and another California first down. So you got to figure another minute and a half is going to come off the clock before California possibly has to give the ball away. And in this situation, you know, Lorenz has missed a pair of field goals in this area. If you don't pick up any yards, I think you maybe pooch one here just to make Bloomsburg on offense a little bit uncomfortable, make them go a farther length of the field as California. They're going to bring that fullback in there, Sean Johnson. And Johnson on him, he's actually this is a linebacker, 6 foot 230. Handoff goes to Backo, makes one guy miss sidestep inside the 30. And for California, all you can ask for is to pick up a chunk of positive yardage on every play at this point.
Yeah, and they continue to do that, Joe, and we're going to march towards another first down. And, you know, John Lockhart not straying from that old school mentality. When you've got the lead late in the game, run the football, run the clock, take as much time off as you want. And under 5 minutes now, up 11, it's really starting to look grim. If you're a Husky fan, you need to get the ball back and in a hurry, score, and then some miracles need to happen. Never say never, but California is getting very close to an impressive PSAC victory.
California, they're going that power set. All tight ends, offensive linemen in there, fullback Lombardi up the middle, nowhere to go on second down. Bring up a third down short, and if you're California, I think you have the ability here. The other tight end, number 83, Ryan Keebler. Keebler, redshirt freshman, 6'3", 255, a local product, Perryopolis, Pennsylvania, Fraser High School. For those of you listening on CSTV that don't know the locality of California, Pennsylvania, we are about 40 miles south-southwest of downtown Pittsburgh. Perryopolis, Fraser area, about 20 minutes south-southeast of here. So for California, you see a lot of local players on this roster, and also a lot of Division I transfers, something like 22, 23 Division I transfers, as California takes a timeout as that play clock ran all the way down to 0 with 3:48 here in the fourth quarter. California on top 24-13. We're going to take a look at the keys to victory again. Take a look first at Bloomsburg and what they needed to do in this game. I can really think we say we hit it on the head, hit the nail on the head hard here when we came up with these earlier today, the trench warfare and that offensive line. They've struggled a little bit.
Yeah, they have struggled a little bit today. The running lanes have not been there, really. They haven't made too many mistakes in terms of penalties or anything like that, but they haven't given Brittingham and Heck the room they would like. Sticky Fingers and Jamarvelous, neither of them have really come to fruition, as Jamarvelous hasn't been able to find too much room because of that trench warfare problem. Sticky Fingers turning the football over, not entirely a big issue. 2, a little over their average, but nonetheless, they haven't held on to the ball as much as they'd like to. For California, Ruggiero did an excellent job of managing the football game today. He threw some nice passes when he needed to, picked up some key first downs, full throttle. I'd say that towards the end of the game, Cal has gotten a little bit conservative, but in a game of this caliber, sometimes you do want to hold back a little bit and make sure you don't make a key mistake towards the end. And Forced issue, I think we hit that one right on the nose as well. Nate Force was a big part of today's ball game. 9 catches, 79 yards. Dare I say he was the difference maker, as he was the one that picked picked up 2 or 3 of those key first downs that Ruggiero delivered to him. I think Nate Forrest may have been offensively the biggest difference maker for the Vulcans in this ballgame.
Third down out, 8, 3:48. Ruggiero's going to pass. He's going for the end zone for Nate Forrest. He's open, makes the adjustment, touchdown, California. And that play there, the one that Bloomsburg did not want to give up, with that touchdown reception, Nate Forrest cracks the 1,500-yard mark for his career, so gets to his 100th reception, 1,500 yards career here at California. Forrest, the Division I transfer from West Virginia, and you say he was a playmaker coming into that play. Now, definitely the offensive player of the game in my mind. Gives him 10 catches for 109 yards back-to-back weeks, 100 yards receiving. Nate Forrest, a guy that I've talked to once or twice, a very nice guy, very down to earth. And it's just an all-around class act, just like much of this California team. The Lorenz extra point attempt is up and good. So California goes up 31-13. We'll be back with the remaining 3:42 right here on CU and CSTV.
This is a tree that was never chopped down to make a crutch that was never needed by a child who never got polio, because vaccine was never in short supply, thanks to people whose compassion wasn't either. Over the years, Rotary Club members have helped immunize over 2 billion children against polio. Soon, the world will be polio-free. Rotary, humanity in motion.
When you need to know what's going on in the Mon Valley, you can turn to one man.
Welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Bob Burke. And tonight we're going to be looking at one of the latest new arrivals in the Mid-Mon Valley. We're talking about the Pittsburgh River Rats, the Mon Valley's first really true professional sports team.
Every week, Bob has all the guests to talk about what matters the most to you, the viewer. It's Valley Views on CUTV. Check your local listings.
Back at Ebner Bailey Field, California goes on top 31-13. Nate Forrest touchdown reception on 3rd and 8 for the Vulcans. For California, really a statement game that's going to have some effect on both the AFCA and D2Football.com polls. Lorenz gets a leg into that one down to the 5-yard line. It's Bilal up to the 20, makes one guy miss with that quick stutter step, and only gets up near the 24 before being brought down. I'm going to take a look at that Nate Forrest touchdown again. This was just a straight go route up the sidelines. Brandon Lombardi hangs in as a blocking back, and Forrest makes the adjustment there on the cornerback, Jesse Cooper, 5'7", 160, opposed to 6'4", 220. There's your 9-inch height advantage. Jesse Cooper didn't stand a chance against Nate Forrest with the way that ball was thrown. Forrest turns around, makes the adjustment, knows it's there. Cooper's still looking right in the eyes of Forrest, and really never had a chance to turn around and swat it down. Now Latour, who's only 2 of 5 in this game, is going to have to step up big here in the late in the 4th quarter, down 18 points, and they're going to run the ball. Actually, Latour's out of the game. It's number 8, Alex Landis. Landis, a redshirt freshman, 6'2", 186, out of Pine Grove. And it leads me to believe, has Latour come in since we talked about that injury?
He has. He has played one series. Maybe he's in there. Maybe they're going to use Landis for scrambling purposes. Latour certainly has the arm. That's why you'd want to believe he'd be in the game at this point. But maybe he re-aggravated something last series. I'm surprised at this change. Maybe they've conceded this matchup, and now they're getting Landis some experience in case Latour does go down in the future.
California pressure up the middle, pass to the near side, hauled in by number 80, the wide receiver, Ryan Barr, a name that we have not even seen much on the field today. Barr, a junior wide receiver out of Fayetteville, Georgia, 6'3", 210, so some big size out there, gets up to the 37.
And Joe, talk about Latour one more time. I was spoken to our radio color guy, John Wynn, before the game, and he was telling me how this program has invested a lot into Dan Latour, and the fact that since he's been here, he has underachieved just a little bit. He came from a big single-A program that had a lot of success. Latour came down here. Yes, he did earn Offensive Rookie of the Year honors last season, but he hasn't done everything they expected him to. Maybe this is just simply them getting prepared, like I said, in case something were to happen, and seeing what Landis has. Maybe he's got something he can contribute to this football program.
Handoff went up the middle to the number 20, Josh Heck. Big number 31, Kirby Griffin, sheds a block and meets him with fury. as Heck gets hit and driven backwards a couple of yards. And, you talk about Latour, he was 5th in NCAA Division II a season ago in pass efficiency. Completed 2,300 yards, had 11 interceptions. I'll give you his touchdown numbers right here in a second. 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 23.98 on the yardage, an efficiency rating of 163.78. As I said, good for 5th best in Division II. Took his team to the national semifinals as a freshman. If that's underachieving, this Bloomsburg program is in outstanding shape for the next 2 years and the remainder of this season as well, as Heck comes up the middle, picks up a solid chunk of yardage. We come inside at 2 minutes here, 1:50 to go in this game. And I think I agree with you. Bloomsburg may have cashed in on this game. I think they're saying they're ready to go home, which, if you're head coach Danny Hale, I don't know what kind of message that really sends to your team. It's 2 scores, 3 minutes. You have 3 timeouts. Instead, you're going to run the ball, let the clock run. And if there is an injury to Dan Latour, something wrong with him, I totally agree pulling him out in a game that at this point isn't much to go. As Landis fumbles the snap, falls on it. California to chop him down, make sure he picks up no extra yardage. So I agree with taking Latour if there is something wrong with him. Make sure you don't injure him farther, because let's face it, it's a long season. Still 9 games left on the season for Bloomsburg. As we get a big congratulatory hug from the Vulcan coaching staff. That was about the craziest thing I've ever seen up here.
We got a minute, Joe. Maybe take a look at that AFCA poll and see what kind of ground California is going to make up in these standings. Certainly, they're going to climb now. And I'm sure after this punt, we'll be able to take a look at that poll. Bloomsburg most certainly will fall after this loss. This is a monumental win for this Vulcan football program. As you're now talking about the quality of wins and who you beat and the margins you win by. They beat Glenville by a score of 34-13 in last week's game. This week, only 3 worse at 31-13 over a much higher quality football program. This is a big-time win for California, and certainly that 19th spot they're ranked in the SCA poll is going to climb when new rankings come out later on this week.
I'll tell you what, to this point in history, the biggest win in California history for this program.
And it seems to say that every year, Joe.
Yeah, and it is. And that's a credit to head coach John Luckhart, who has built this program really from the ground up when he came in here. He had that vision in his 6th year now, 6 years later, has built a team into a top 25 nationally recognized team at 19. They're going to jump, I'm saying, no worse than 15 come Monday when these rankings come out, as California goes into the knee formation, as this will be the final play of the game. We would like to send a special thanks to our entire crew here today. So many of them don't have time to name them all, for making this happen. A special thanks to CSTV for picking up our broadcast of Cal Bloomsburg for the 2nd consecutive year, and we thank you all for tuning in. All of you that have tuned in across the nation. There are a lot of you from the Wiviac Northeast 10 were interested in this game today, as well as those of you around the PSAC that could not make the trip here to our tiny little corner of California in the western part of Pennsylvania. We thank you. And for California, they improved to 3-0. Have Cheney on the road next week, a game that could be a trap game, could be a letdown, as Cheney, they're a very up-and-coming program. If they can get some continuity in that team, could be a very tough matchup for California.
Yeah, Joe, we've seen it in the past. California continues to collect in big win after big win, year after year. This is a program on the rise. Their name is really starting to be recognized across the country at the Division II level, and it's just a matter of keeping your heads high and moving full speed ahead. There's nothing California can do to afford themselves a letdown this season. As I look at it, they should and must carry an undefeated record into Westchester the last game of the year. There are teams in their way that they should be able to beat, and California has to stay focused and make sure they win those games that are necessary for them to win.
We're going to take a look at the play of the game here. I got to believe it's going to be one of those Brandon Lombardi touchdown runs. It was the go-ahead score earlier in this game. For California, a huge victory here at home. For Bloomsburg, they come on the road into a very tough place to play. And for them, they get to go back home next week to take on a Clarion Golden Eagle squad that is in a rebuilding transition. That game will be from Memorial Stadium next Saturday at 6 p.m. for Bloomsburg. So from Adamson Stadium, Hepner Bailey Field, for Stephanie Smith, my partner in the booth, Josh Easter, well, thank you for joining us. We will catch you next time right here on CUTV.